Greetings, guys. My name is Benedict, and I'm the president at Lambano Trade Capital. And this is yet another video of our support and resistance bollinger band trading strategy. So, what I want to share with you guys today is basically a setup that I just identified, which could potentially yield some promising, you know, results in terms of going forward throughout the year. The date today is the 10th of January 2018, and I'm basically going to be sharing with you guys, some of the concepts that I take into account before I actually commit any of my money into any particular trade. So I've actually shared a couple of videos as well based on this strategy, and I'm just going to basically show you how I go about looking for setups and actually ending up taking them based on what factors, but as I said before, we mostly focus on candlestick patterns, bollinger bands, and mostly and foremost, the most important of them all is buying at support and selling at resistance. And currently, if we are looking at uh, EuroCAD right now, since we are looking at EuroCAD right now, we are basically looking at this price action in this area here. This is a level of support simply because if you look to the left right here, you can see that since the market has been coming down for the past year, it has been creating lower lows and lower highs, but when it particularly came into this area here, it started ranging to show that there's a very significant support level right there, and there's another resistance level right there, which it tested about 3 times before it could actually gather enough momentum to actually break through the support to make a new low. So because of this support area here, where the market actually tested 3 times, there was the first one here, and then here's the second one here, and then the third time there, before it could actually break through on the fourth test, we can actually conclude that this is a very significant bouncing off support level, like a bouncing area there, where price could actually reverse for this particular uh, trade. So we'll be looking at what will be uh, transpiring with price action in this area in order for us to actually take that trade. So what I have identified is that EuroCAD has been actually moving in a channel. As you can see, it has been making it had a high there and a lower high, which was in a range bound and eventually breaking down lower, and this is our lower band of the channel. So we have identified that this channel has now been broken in this area here, where the market the price actually broke out of that channel. The first attempt was actually here, where it actually tried to break out of that channel, but it failed, based on these two candlesticks, which were pin bars, simply showing you that the price was actually being rejected off that level. So it's quite a very significant level, because once again it's also a a round number, because if I had to just move my uh, horizontal line there, you can actually see that it was actually bouncing off this 99 whole number there and actually closing off here at 988. So we can actually predict that should this market actually reverse here in this 972 area, then the first target will more likely be that resistance level there. So I just want to share with you guys how I got to the conclusion that there is a possibility that Eurocat might actually start continuing its uptrend. So basically, one of the main features of this strategy is I like to actually put in my bollinger band, because now a bollinger band is simply shows you a proportionate area of support. So for me, uh, if the market is moving and it starts actually uh, getting into the lower band of the bollinger band, like here in this area here, once it starts piercing through the lower band of that bollinger band, then I start paying attention. Or when it actually starts um, piercing the highs and it's actually also in a resistance area there, then I start paying attention as to how the price action around that area plays out. Like in this area here, we had the bollinger band there, where it actually pierced the bollinger band the first time, and then it came for the second time with a very good down movement there, which actually almost came into this uh, support level again, but it ended up closing at the higher note. And once it actually came there for the third time, failing to break through twice, giving us 2 pins, this was a definite and clear signal for a sell, placing our stop losses above those 2 pins. And on this trade alone, on the third day, you would have made substantial amounts of profits. So earlier, no, in fact, not even earlier, last year in December, we also took this buy trade all up until that area there. So based on the strategy itself, because we did identify that the price was in a support level in this area here, um, more specifically because now if you are mixing um, or finding confluences within the strategy, such as looking for, price whole numbers, which are round numbers, like for example, if I just had to move my cursor there, then it means that, as you can see, it actually was looking for that 9-6 whole number before it could actually start moving upwards. So it came into that 9-6 number there, and then it closed up there, and then that's when we actually took the trade for a buy. So it actually gave us the first pin of the Bollinger Band, which actually now we started focusing on this trade, because now in December we actually took about 2 trades, because we did also take this first trade going up, and then once it started hitting the top band there, we got out. And then luckily after that, it gave us a second opportunity to buy, because we were looking for a longer run to the upside. So it gave us a second opportunity, and it also pierced the Bollinger Band for the second time, and which is exactly what we are looking for, more specifically in any trade. But sometimes it does not mean that you don't have to trade um, when the first piercing of the band, when it comes into a support level. Sometimes, price does not give you that perfect W, and it actually just starts moving from the first bounce. So we like to actually get in from the first one, but if it does give us a second piercing of the band there, a perfect W, then for us it's quite a very significant signal, and a very high probability trade for us. So in this case here, we are actually in that support area, which is now basically you could take as, if you are an Elliott wave type of trader, then this could be your first wave up, your impulse wave, your first wave up, and then it's coming into your second phase there in attempts to actually start moving upwards to make your third wave. So so we are looking to buy into this area here. um, simply because now we are in a support area. That's one of the first things. So the second part is we have a piercing on our lower bollinger band, so we have two checks down. And then we do know that another thing is that it broke through out of that trend line, out of that falling channel. So this could be a retest of that channel. So that is our third point. And on top of that, looking at the price action itself, let me just zoom in. Then we can conclude that it did give us two let's do this, two doji candles right there. um, they're not very big, um, but if ever for me, once I start seeing price being rejected and the candlestick actually closing within the body of the previous candle right there, then for me it's kind of like a very good signal. Now to actually get two of them, uh, which actually starts showing that price cannot break any lower, that's a very big signal for me as well. So now we can actually anticipate price going up. So I like to emphasize on the fact that this trading with bollinger band is a very good strategy. It has a high probability, more especially if you are using it on a higher time frame. I actually suggest and advise that you look for these type of setups with bollinger bands, uh, using bollinger bands and support and resistance on a higher time frame, because it actually cancels out all the noise that you mostly find at lower time frames, like your 15 minutes charts and your hourly charts. Because now uh, it gives you more pips as well, and it gives you a better risk ratio, because now in this trade we will probably be risking about let me just look, we'll be risking about, if we had to enter now, we'll be risking about 60 pips, because we'll be putting our stop at 168, again 968, because the price right now is 974. So we'll be risking about 60 pips to actually gain 140 pips. So that's a good risk ratio. That's about 3 to 1 risk ratio. So that's one of the things that we are also looking forward, not forward, that we look forward to every time we look for these setups using bollinger bands and support and resistance. But mostly we have to, one of the most important aspects of that as well is, in order to actually find the perfect setup, once we have actually found those piercings of the band, we also want to focus on how the candles close and how they react. Now, one of the things that I learned about these markets is that you always, before we can actually identify a trend, a change in trend, you usually have about 3 to 4 days. We actually looking for um, 3 to 4 days where the market has been moving in a certain direction, and then we're looking for that candle that actually that is contrary to where the trend was going, which in this case we have had 3 red candles here, a very strong red candle there. We have the second one there, and then we have the third one there, which was the doji as well. So the fourth one was a green candle. This was a good indication as well for spotting change in the trend very early, and so this is like our fourth check uh, on our list, in terms of what could we use to actually confirm that this is a high probability trade. So now these are the few things that I want you guys to take in consideration using these strategies. So but I also advise that you study candlestick patterns, so that you can identify these reversal patterns once you come into those levels of support and resistance, because we do not want you selling at resistance when there is like a very strong momentum bar breaking through the resistance, and closing above, and then you want to sell just simply because it's in that level of resistance. So price action as well, it plays a major factor in making sure that you have a winning trade at all times. Using this strategy alone can guarantee you about 85% a win ratio. So I suggest you guys actually learn more about these bollinger bands and how to trade them effectively. Most people actually use bollinger bands to actually target like the middle band, like for example, if we were to get in on this buy here, most people are actually looking to get out of this trade around this middle band here. But because we are confident of the fact that this is the start of a new trend, we have already started a new trend from that double bottom there, we can anticipate that, price might continue going higher and finishing off the extension of this first movement up here. So one of the things that we also want to add is you can find as many confluences as possible to make sure that your trade is safe and you also feel confident about your trade before you actually commit your money to it. So I've took the liberty to actually look at what other factors could I or what other tools could I use to actually make a much informed decision on this trade. But I saw that if I had to insert the Fibonacci levels, I identify that, it's at a very good retracement level, which is the 50% retracement level there. Let me just do this and make sure that we have the right coordinates there. All right, so as you can see, right, here's the 50% retracement level and here's the 61.8. so this area, as we all know using Fibonacci's, that these are the most prominent reversal areas or retracement areas to actually find buy position if you are going looking to actually buy the market. So I found that it's been failing to break through this 50% level here. As you can see, about 4 days ago it came into this area but didn't close below the 50%, and on the third day it also tried again, and yesterday it also tried again. So this gives us a good indication that this is a more promising bouncing off area. But should it not bounce off this area exactly, it is more likely just to cause a bit of a stop hunt. But the stop hunt will not be too far because it still wants to remain within that permanent buying area. Now I identified, should it come to this 61.8 level, it will be simply because now the institutional traders are more of focused on getting in on the right price. So as I look at it, it's the price here. Remember, we're always also looking for whole numbers. So here's a whole number of 0.97 there, which is closer to the 61.8. So should it drop from this point on, it was more likely to reverse at that 970 level and actually start moving upwards. So I hope you guys learn to actually find more confluences before you can actually take any trade based on this strategy alone. So as you can see right now, we have about maybe 5 confluences that gives us a good indication that this is more likely to go into a long position. We have the touching of the bottom of our bollinger band, which is the first tick. The market broke out of the trend line, that falling channel, and it's now creating a retest. That is the second one. We have candlestick patterns, which is the reversal candles there, the dojis. That is the third point. The fourth point, we actually have it's a support area, a very prominent support area. And then the fifth point, we have the price of the 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 whole number, which is close to that reversal area. So that is quite a lot, guys. And on top of that, we also have the Fibonacci. So that's about 6 points that we have based on this uh, setup alone. So I will actually keep you guys informed. I'm going to be entering this position now with my stop at 968. So basically it's just 20 pips below the 97 whole number, so that I don't, should it break through lower, then I don't burn too much of my account. But I truly believe that this one will actually start moving up anytime soon. But I'll keep you guys informed, and hopefully you learned a lot from this video, and I hope you guys subscribe to our channel. And Benedict Pafudi, which is my name. And then hopefully I'll be making more of these videos as time goes along. As long as I find a good setup for you guys, I'll definitely do some analysis for you and with you, and give you some pointers on how to identify these type of setups and what makes it a good setup, a high probability setup. So this is a very good one. I have, I believe that there is a 90% chance of actually winning on this trade. So for me, this is a very good trade to be in, and I hope it actually produces the results that we are seeking, and also focusing on minimizing our risk as well. So but as time goes along, guys, I'll do a follow-up video for you guys and see how this trade played out. So thank you for watching this video, and enjoy catching pips.